Hey everybody, welcome to week 5. We've been focusing on the promotional aspects of marketing, and this is what you need to know for this week's quiz. When we talk about promotional programs, you're going to have a target audience, and so the promotional program is going to be focused on what does that target audience want to hear from you, whether that be through traditional advertising forms or through something more along the lines of an event. You still want to have a target audience in mind so that you're scoping and shaping this project around the needs of that end consumer. When you think about promotional budgets, you'll hear the term competitive parity, which basically says that as a brand, I'm probably going up against similar brands with similar products, similar budgets, similar attributes, and similar athletes. So, as we look at our promotional message, how will we differentiate between the two to make a cohesive message that works? As a marketer, you're going to come up with the promotional schedule, which basically says, out of all of our tools that we have in terms of promotion, what is the schedule? How are we going to unroll them? So if we're going to do, say, social media, which ads are going to be running which weeks, how often, so the frequency of it, which channels, is it Facebook, is it Instagram, whatever, but looking at how does that schedule roll out and how long does it last and how much are we going to dedicate in terms of funds. Marketers have different ways of deriving what the promotional budget is going to be for the upcoming year. One example of that is going to be to use a percentage of sales, which basically says that based on our sales for a given year, we will dedicate X to our marketing budget. So if, for instance, out of a scale of 100% of our total budget, we're going to say that 10% of that is automatically dedicated to marketing. The advantage of this is that you've got a set amount of funds that are always set aside for it. The disadvantage is obviously in better years you're going to have more funds, in lower years you're going to have less funds, and it may work conversely to what you actually need to do, because in a low season you may need to actually do more promotion, and in a high season you may need to actually do less. So when we think about the modality that a target audience is likely to respond to, it's important to look at what does our consumer do on a day-to-day basis. So what are their habits? Where do they go? How do they get to and from work or to or from play? What does that look like, and how do we reach them? That modality piece really dictates what is the best product for us to get our message out there. Building off that idea of percentage of sales for a marketing budget, often small brands will use this because it's a dedicated piece of their total budget, which means they can plan out based on their projected sales. If, for instance, a small brand just says, we're going to put in $50,000 towards marketing, but sales don't end up anywhere near that, it's very possible for them to go out of business basically because they've overspent in their marketing budget and it wasn't actually based on a result of total sales. So as part of your promotional schedule as a marketer, you're probably going to attend trade shows, and working with trade shows you're going to run into what's called buying groups. And buying groups are essentially a group of retailers that have banded together, or one large retailer that's banded together to create a stronger buying platform. And so the advantage of a buying group from a retailer's perspective is that they're able to order in larger quantities. They're able to move the market, so to speak, because they have so much more buying power. They can help shift what products are coming into the marketplace. They also have stronger leverage with those manufacturers because they represent a bigger part of the total buy. At the trade show, a marketer is probably going to be working with the sales team to help bolster their product in the retailer's mind, but also it's a place for them to connect with different athletes. So from a promotional piece, they may approach different athletes and potentially get them to work with their brand. It's also a place for them to connect with the media in their industry, so working with the websites, the blogs, the magazines, to create a message or create a campaign based on what's coming out. And it's also a way for the marketing team to network within the industry. So just building awareness about brands and getting your name out there is a big part of attending the show and really representing what that brand is bringing to the industry. Additionally, at a trade show, a marketing team will probably look at soliciting feedback. So, because they're not part of the sales team, it's easier for them sometimes to get real, truthful feedback. Oftentimes, retailers don't necessarily always want to tell their sales rep everything that they have on their mind, but they may tell that marketing person. They also distribute information, so giving out contact information or giving out promotional materials, those kinds of things. And as a result, based on all this information that they're gathering, they're going to help do the forecasting for that next year, because they're taking more of the big picture approach. Whereas a sales rep may be only focused on their territory, the marketing team is looking at all the territories and looking at, okay, this is where we stand for the upcoming season based on what our sales reps as a whole are telling us. Additionally, at a trade show, a marketer will help retailers understand where the brand is and where the retailer may be. So a retailer may have had a good season or a bad season with a particular product, and a marketer can help shape that conversation by saying, I'm sorry to hear that you had problems with this, but this particular retailer over in this territory is doing this with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to name names, but it helps shed some light sometimes when you have a difficult situation and you need to approach it in a way that gives a different perspective. Marketers also can generate some positive feedback then from the product design team, or for the product design team, to create new products and really enhance what that next year's product line is going to look like. Leading up to the trade shows, marketing teams are going to be creating the new catalogs for the upcoming year, so this really helps the sales team in generating materials that are of value and really help shape that ability to write orders at a trade show or thereafter by giving that end consumer, in this case the retailer, all the information they need to make sound decisions in what products they want to carry for the upcoming season. One of the things that a marketing team is going to want to do at a trade show is to qualify the buyers that are coming into the booth. So essentially saying, out of these new retailers that we have been approached by, we think this group of retailers is going to work best based on this big picture view that we have of our regions, our territories, and this is why. This store has a lot of clout in their area. They have great marketing, they have great sales employees, and they're really going to help promote our brand. Or conversely, maybe a retailer walks in and there's already too many retailers in this specific resort or this town, and the marketing department works with the sales team and says, maybe this isn't the best idea to add this retailer because they're going to cannibalize other sales that we have already established in that area. Leading up to a trade show, marketing teams will start to generate previous sales history for sales reps, so they can help get snapshots put together of this is how much a rep sold to a retailer in the previous year or previous 5 years. That way, when the retailer and the rep meet, the rep knows, okay, I should expect this out of this retailer, or maybe I could have the potential to grow this by this much %, or whatever the case may be. The marketing team is obviously going to be working on the promotional materials, on all the catalog materials, making sure that the pricing is in line with what the industry is up to, and just essentially creating a package that's going to help promote the brand as a whole.